Okay, so this is a bit of an experiment that might turn into something that we use. The government's running a consultation on scaling up community energy, and various groups have already put in input, and perhaps the most important one is coming from Community Energy England, who have a wonderful infographic on their site about what is community energy, which I'm scrolling through, hopefully here. And it's just to show community energy is about energy independence. It's about democratic decision making. I would have put right at the front, it's about tackling global warming, community benefit over profit, community origin, community resilience, and how it can work for ordinary people. What are we doing? We're generating renewable energy, advising people, setting up low carbon heat schemes, community-led energy efficiency and retrofit services, smart local energy systems, and so on, bringing profits into the community, working on low carbon travel, electric cars, and so on, opportunities, impacts and benefits, community engagement in energy systems, building community trust, local economic impact, empowering retrofit initiatives, poverty reduction, attracting investments. Again, I would say that communities are doing their bit to tackle climate change, which is the issue of the day. I'm quite surprised that it doesn't appear as the top thing. And what's holding community energy back? Well, the government wants to know what that is and what can be done to improve things. At the beginning of last year, I put together a talk called Energy Snakes and Ladders, and it was basically about the opportunities and the things holding community energy back. And these are things that you can read this as well as I can. Community energy supply reductions. What's the trajectory and potential of community energy? Strong pipeline. So it's planned electricity generation. It turns out that there's about 400 megawatts of community energy. And what's the potential? Well, it turns out that it's bigger than this, a lot bigger than this. Not just an order of magnitude bigger, but 2 orders of magnitude bigger. We have 400 megawatts of solar and wind and other energy generation. And the Council for the Protection of Rural England, I think that's what CPRE stands for, have issued a report showing that the potential on our rooftops and within our cities, i.e. not on our fields, is 40 to 50 gigawatts. That's 100 times 400 megawatts. So the potential is huge. And the immediate question is, why aren't we getting there? Well, we are getting there, and we are getting there increasingly fast. It used to be that government had brought in a mechanism, feed-in tariffs, to encourage communities to develop renewable energy projects by providing by providing substantial incentives, which were funded by taxing existing energy generation. So couldn't last forever. And those were gradually reduced and eliminated 6 or so years ago. But the cost of solar and the cost of wind continues to come down to the point where they're viable within themselves. And Resilience Network in Bristol, the group I'm working with, has been looking particularly at solar and what's possible. And we've been looking at the economic case for solar, and we've been looking at building a business model. And we've produced a series of funding applications. Last year we had funding from the government's Community Energy Fund and Bristol's local one to explore this. We've written this up in different ways. We've held meetings, we've researched, we've brought together experts in the community in particular who can tackle the different aspects of this: legal, project management, financial, solar installation, and so on. And we've written this all up and put in for more funding for business planning to run a pilot. Our idea is that if we put solar and storage in a number of homes in groups across Bristol, preferably in areas of lower lower wealth, in areas that of which you could say call fuel poverty, areas where the economics are not so great, where the benefits of having cheaper energy will be most appreciated. People who've got nice houses and can afford to pay can already put solar on their roofs. Other people can't often. So we're looking at a way of the community funding solar in such a way that people get cheaper energy. And what comes in is that there needs to be a mechanism, not unlike the feed-in tariffs. The feed-in tariffs were a way of using the energy companies to keep track of what generation people were doing, something more than they were currently doing, and handle the distribution of the government's payouts. We want something, and if you are generating solar on your roof right now, there's a thing called the SEGs, I think it's Special Export Guarantee, but the government requests energy companies to pay people for energy that they're generating on their roofs and not using themselves, and they're exporting. So it's a further incentive. It's a remaining incentive. So the government's saying energy companies buy and sell energy. Why not make it a requirement that you're prepared to buy energy from people who are generating energy on their roofs? And what we're adding to this is the idea, which is like self generation incentive, if you like. We're saying if you put solar on your roof yourself, then you get the energy for free. We're saying if the community were to put solar on your roof, then we would like energy companies to work with us to sell the energy to the people in the house at a discount, so that the money can go to the community group, the community co-op that's provided the solar. We'll have diagrams to explain this. We'll have talks to explain this. We have it on our website at resnet.org.uk. And so our advice to the government is that the biggest possible opportunity is from supporting the generation of solar energy on our roofs. If it's on our roofs, it's got the least possible impact on the grid. We don't need grid capacity to carry the electricity around. Most of the electricity, or at least a substantial chunk of it, can be used in houses without even going into the grid, especially if those houses have got storage. It arguably provides maximum community benefit, because this is the community generating energy directly for itself, some of it without it even going on the grid, and therefore you could say avoiding transmission charges, but simply not needing transmission. This is the possibility to create the biggest in terms of energy bill savings. And as I've already said, least impact on the grid. It's the greatest local engagement. If we have people involved in having solar energy on their own roofs, generating their own energy, the community's involved, it's creating the most fair transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy. especially if the schemes that we put in involve sharing of energy. It's not just about I generate solar on my roof or the community is paying for me to do it and giving me the electricity, but the exported energy might be shared within the community. And this can be done increasingly intelligently and decided by the community so that it's fair. There's room for an investment of 50 gigawatts is probably an investment of, at the moment, it would be 50 billion, but the cost will come down as more and more solar is installed. It might be an investment of something like 25 billion in local energy in the country, and there would be massive savings in carbon. We have done some preliminary work on what the savings might be in Bristol, and Bristol has a plan to get to carbon neutral by 2030, and there's a shortfall of 400,000 tons. If we put solar on all the roofs in Bristol that are available for solar, and we put the most efficient panels, we would get probably around half of that saving. But as the electricity, this was we could put more electricity than we use on the roofs of Bristol, and therefore we would immediately start using it to power our electric transport. And that would create further emission savings to the point where it looks like we ought to be able to save the entire 400,000 tons. So there's a possibility to use solar and electric vehicles in combination to get a city to carbon neutral. If it worked with Bristol, it ought to work anywhere. So that's a very interesting piece of information if you're a government trying to decarbonize the country by 2030. If you can report back that, well, cities can do a big chunk of this themselves. Combine that with massive solar farms on the North Sea and so on, not solar farms, wind farms on the North Sea, and storage of excess solar and wind generation in electric vehicles and perhaps in gas storage, like generating hydrogen. Good grief. I've really already gone on for 47 minutes. Then I'm going to stop and invite, I'm going to stop here and invite ChatGPT. ChatGPT. Hello, Chat. You've already listened to my description of what communities can do by way of generating local energy and how solar might be the biggest opportunity. And you've already digested and read and digested Community Energy England's report to the government on scaling up local energy and the report from Energy Local, which is the most interesting one for us because Energy Local are talking.
Yes. I've reviewed your description of the Resilience Network's innovative approach to scaling community energy, particularly focusing on solar energy as a key opportunity. I've also read and summarized the submissions from Community Energy England and Energy Local, both of which align with your emphasis on unlocking local energy potential. What's great is that your Resilience Network adds a unique perspective, especially with its focus on piloting urban rooftop solar, integrating storage and vehicle-to-grid technologies, and advocating for reforms to grid charges and planning regulations. These ideas are both practical and ambitious, bridging the gap between policy recommendations and community-level action. Would you like me to begin consolidating all these perspectives, yours, Community Energy England's, and Energy Local's, into a draft response for the government inquiry? If there's more you'd like to add, feel free to share before I start drafting.
Yeah, I will do that. I'm going to hand you the transcript from what I've just said. And if you can draft a document, I will link to that document in the in the notes beneath this video where it's published. So our submission will appear below. Okay, and thanks for listening, people watching this on YouTube, and thank you for
Once you
helping
share the
the chat.
transcript or any additional details, I'll draft a comprehensive response document for the government inquiry. The submission will reflect your unique insights, aligned with Community Energy England's and Energy Local's perspectives, and tailored to showcase the Resilience Network's innovative approach. Let me know when you're ready with the transcript or other inputs, and I'll get started.
Great, thanks. Catch you later. And there'll be you'll see, if you're watching this video on YouTube, it is part of a playlist that we're assembling as we, come up with ideas. We'll be discussing these ideas with others that we work with, and the playlist will grow. And you can find
it. Sounds like a fantastic way to share your journey and engage others in the process. By building a playlist, you're not only documenting the Resilience Network's development, but also creating a resource for others interested in community energy. I'll be ready when you return with the transcript or more details. Enjoy collaborating and brainstorming with your team. Catch you later.
There you go. And that playlist is also linked in the description under the video. Okay, thank you. Cheers.